The ballroom shimmered under golden crystal chandeliers as guests applauded the newly married couple. At the center stood Arham Malik, 27 years old, tall, broad-shouldered, with neatly styled jet-black hair and warm, honey-brown eyes. His sharp jawline and calm, charming smile made him look like a prince out of a royal wedding magazine. Beside him stood his bride, glowing like a dream. Elara Khan, 25, looked breathtaking in her ivory wedding gown embroidered with delicate silver patterns. Her almond-shaped hazel eyes sparkled under the lights, and her smooth, radiant complexion gave her an almost angelic glow. She looked peaceful, but strangely distant. The wedding had been perfect. No drama, no objections, only love and celebration. Friends described them as the perfect couple. Arham couldn't stop smiling as he gently held Elara's hand, unaware. At 11:47 p.m., Elara excused herself quietly. "I'll be back in a few minutes," she whispered softly, her voice gentle and calm. She walked toward the bridal suite upstairs, her white gown flowing behind her like mist. Minutes passed, then 30, then an hour. Arham checked his phone. No message. He smiled nervously at the guests and headed upstairs, assuming she was fixing her makeup or resting. The bridal suite door was slightly open. The lights were still on. The room was untouched. Her bouquet lay neatly on the vanity table. Her jewelry box was open. But Elara was nowhere inside. Arham's heartbeat quickened. He checked the balcony. Empty. The bathroom, silent. The hallway cameras showed her entering the suite, but never leaving. Security searched the entire hotel. Every exit was monitored. No white dress, no bride. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. Arham stood in the center of the suite, staring at the large mirror. That's when he noticed something strange. Written faintly on the fogged surface were 3 words, "You don't know me." The writing wasn't there earlier, and no one had entered the room after Elara. As Arham touched the mirror, his reflection seemed steady. But for a split second, he could have sworn the reflection smiled before he did. Arham stepped back from the mirror, his honey-brown eyes narrowing. "This isn't funny," he muttered under his breath. But deep inside, something felt wrong. Not panic. Recognition. As if those words had been written for him long before tonight. Police arrived within minutes. The lead investigator, Inspector Rehan Qureshi, was composed and sharp-featured, with neatly trimmed dark hair and observant steel-gray eyes. Dressed in a crisp navy suit, he looked calm, intelligent, and methodical. He studied the room carefully, his expression unreadable. "There's no sign of forced exit," Rehan said quietly, "and the cameras confirm she never left this floor." His gaze shifted to Arham. "Tell me about your wife. Was she nervous? Afraid?" Arham ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, trying to steady himself. "No. She was happy. Calm. We've been together for 2 years." But as he said it, flashes of small, odd moments returned. Elara staring at him too long, asking strange questions about his childhood, his past relationships. Rehan examined the vanity table. Elara's diamond earrings lay carefully placed. Her wedding ring was still on her finger when she went upstairs. But now it was resting beside the bouquet. She had removed it willingly. "People don't vanish," Rehan said softly. "They leave. Or they're taken." His sharp eyes locked onto Arham's. "Which one do you think this is?" Meanwhile, guests were whispering downstairs. Some said it was kidnapping. Others said cold feet. But one bridesmaid stepped forward hesitantly. She was pale. "Before going upstairs, Elara told me something." Arham turned sharply. "What did she say?" His voice trembled for the first time that night. The bridesmaid swallowed. She said, "If he remembers before midnight, everything changes." I didn't understand what she meant. The clock in the hallway struck 12 hot a.m. Midnight. At that exact second, every light in the bridal suite flickered off, plunging the room into darkness. And in the pitch-black silence, Arham felt something cold brush against his hand. Like fingers. The lights flickered back on within seconds. Aram looked around sharply, his honey-brown eyes wide. There was no one standing near him. Inspector Rehan and the officers were still by the door, but Aram's hand was trembling because he was certain someone had just touched him. On the large mirror, new words had appeared beneath the earlier message. "You promised." The handwriting was identical, soft, feminine, familiar. Rehan stepped closer. "Promised what?" he asked quietly. His steel-gray eyes were now studying Arham more than the room. "Mr. Malik, is there something you haven't told us?" Arham's breathing grew heavier, and then it hit him, not like a memory, but like a realization. 2 years ago, before meeting Elara, he had been involved in a private behavioral research program, a project studying memory influence and emotional control. He had signed strict confidentiality agreements. Volunteers were paired with partners without knowing their full identities. Emotional bonds were formed, observed, manipulated. Elara hadn't met him by chance. She had been assigned to him, to study him, to make him fall in love, naturally, deeply. But somewhere along the way, the experiment had stopped being professional. "She wasn't supposed to marry you," Rehan said calmly. "The program ended 6 months ago, but she refused to detach. She said you were different." His gaze softened slightly. "You were the only one who didn't fake your feelings." Arham felt his world shift. "Where is she?" he whispered. Rehan hesitated. "She checked herself out of the program tonight. Legally. No kidnapping. No crime. She left on her own." He paused. "But she left something behind." Inside Aram's suit pocket, his phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number. "You fell in love with me without knowing who I was. Now I want to know, would you choose me again?" Aram slowly looked toward the balcony doors, now slightly open, curtains moving gently in the night breeze. The bride hadn't disappeared. She had given him a choice.